Ever really thought about why you pick one brand over another, when you're standing in the aisles staring at a wall of options? Well, it's not random, and it's definitely not magic. It's strategy. Today, we're going to crack open the strategist playbook to see exactly how companies fight for your loyalty and, yeah, your money. So let's jump in. So let's start with a question you probably answer like a dozen times a day without even really thinking about it. But that choice, that tiny little decision, it isn't random at all. It's actually the end result of a really carefully calculated game. And, understanding how that game is played, well, that's the key to pretty much all of marketing strategy. And the very first play in this book is all about getting the rules of that game. It's called the customer value game, and you're the star player. Okay, so at its very core, marketing is built on this one really simple but powerful idea. We are all value maximizers. Just think about it for a second. With the money you have and the information you can find, you're pretty much always looking for the best possible deal for whatever it is you need. So the brand that wins, it's the one that does the best job of convincing you that they offer the most bang for your buck. So, how does a company actually do that? How do they make their offer seem like the most valuable one out there? I mean, they can't just shout, "Hey, we're the best." No, they have to build something very specific, something called a compelling value proposition. Now, a value proposition isn't just one single thing, like a lower price or a faster chip. It's the whole package. It's the entire promise of the experience you're going to get, from how the product actually works to the feeling you get just by owning it. It's the whole shebang. We can actually break that total experience down into 3 key areas. First up is functional value. This is the most basic, straightforward stuff. Does the thing do its job? Is it reliable? Does it actually solve the problem you bought it for? Next, you've got psychological value. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is all about the feelings. How does owning this product make you feel about yourself? Does it signal status? Does it fit your lifestyle? This is how a pair of sneakers becomes more than just shoes, or a coffee becomes more than just a drink. And finally, of course, there's monetary value. This is the dollars and cents part. The sticker price is the obvious one, but it also includes stuff like discounts or special financing or even what it's going to cost you to maintain it over time. It's the complete financial story. Okay, so a brand has its big, broad promise. That's the value proposition. But let's be real, in today's crowded market, that is not enough. To really cut through all that noise and actually win, they have to get super sharp, super specific. And that, my friends, is where positioning comes in. Positioning is all about claiming one specific little piece of real estate inside your head. When I say safe car, what brand pops into your mind? When I say overnight delivery, what company do you think of? See, that instant connection, that's not an accident. That is the result of years of deliberate, careful positioning. So, how do these two ideas really work together? Well, think of it like this. The value proposition is the brand's entire story. But the positioning, that's the catchy, unforgettable headline that makes you actually want to read that story. It's the sharp point of the spear. All right, now we're getting to the real heart of the playbook. Once a brand figures out its positioning, it has to make it real. And this means pulling off a constant balancing act, a strategic tension between being just like everyone else and being totally, completely different. This brings us to 2 really key concepts. First, you have what are called points of parity, or POPs for short. Think of these as the must-haves, the absolute basics you need just to be considered a real player. Then you have points of difference, or PODs, and these are the unique things that give you a real reason to choose one brand over all the others. So points of parity are basically the price of entry. They're the table stakes. Without them, you're not even in the game. A classic example is Miller Lite. When it launched, it was the first big light beer, but it couldn't just talk about having fewer calories. No, first it had to convince beer drinkers that it met the most basic expectation for any beer, that it tastes great. That was its point of parity. But look, parity just gets you in the door. To win the game, a brand needs a powerful point of difference, and a really strong POD has to pass this simple 3-part test. First, it has to be desirable, like customers have to actually want it. Second, it's got to be deliverable. The company has to be able to actually do it and do it well. And third, it has to be truly differentiating. It can't be something your competitors can easily copy. Okay, let's look at a true masterclass in using these ideas, POPs and PODs, to basically invent a whole new market. BMW's entry into the US is just a legendary example of something called a straddle position. So back then, the US car market was pretty much split. You had your big, comfy luxury cars, like a Cadillac, that were, well, they were boats. Then you had your performance cars, like a Corvette, that were fast, but not exactly refined. BMW saw this huge gap right in the middle. So, against the performance cars, it said, hey, we're just as fast, that's parity, but we're also luxurious, that's the difference. And against the luxury cars, it did the exact opposite. We're just as luxurious, parity, but we're also a blast to drive, difference. And they captured this whole brilliant strategy in one of the greatest taglines of all time, the ultimate driving machine. It perfectly explained their unique position, straddling both categories. And in doing so, they basically created and owned an entirely new category, the luxury performance car. All right, so the final play in the book isn't just about creating this amazing position. It's about making it stick. It's about communicating it so clearly and so consistently that it becomes a real, lasting advantage in the market. And the key to making it stick is this one simple but incredibly powerful internal document, the positioning statement. All that hard strategic thinking about value, about parity, about difference, it all gets boiled down to this. It becomes the North Star for every single ad, every product decision, every tweet, everything. And you know, the best positioning statements follow a really simple formula. Just look at these classics. Each one nails down exactly who the target customer is, and then it states the single most important benefit, the one big reason to choose them. For Hertz, it's all about speed for professionals. For Volvo, it's safety for families. For Domino's, it's prompt delivery for pizza lovers. See how it works? It's always clear, it's always focused, and it's always powerful. So there you have it. That's the playbook. From a big, broad value promise all the way down to a razor-sharp positioning statement. I think the biggest takeaway here is that winning brands, they don't just sell products. They sell a single valuable idea. They don't try to be everything to everyone. Nope. They pick one unique space in your mind and they own it completely. So the next time you choose a brand, ask yourself, what space are they trying to own in my mind?